Hello and welcome everyone. This is another episode in my series of videos on how to play and take care of your Tagelharpa. This is based on my own experience and research with this instrument and just, the time I spent with the instrument, playing it and learning how it works, and also learning from you, maybe from your comments, and sharing each other's experience through talking in the comment section and generally hanging out. So this episode in particular is about tuning the instrument, and it comes from actually one of your comments asking me to show how I tune my own. I will say two things. The first is I already filmed this episode some time ago, but I wasn't satisfied with the way I had set up that episode, so now I'm filming it again, and I am doing it a bit differently. The second, and probably the most important thing, is that the tuning of the Tagelharpa depends on the way the Tagelharpa is built. I will try to show you this difference with my own. Of course, I cannot explain every case possible. You can check with the artisan who builds your instrument before getting it, and from the pictures, etc., etc. My Tagelharpa has pegs at the top and then this thing right here at the bottom, and it's called a micro tuning machine. What I usually do is I start from the pegs at the top. Let me show you what they are behind. This probably makes you understand better why they are called pegs. I start by turning the pegs at the top for each string, and I reach the note that I want for each string, like I would for a guitar or any other instrument with strings. And then I use the micro tuning machine at the bottom, this little maybe this is easier to see, these little things here, and I turn them one by one. They give me, as the word says, more precision over the tuning of the string that I'm working with at the time. As I was saying, since not every Tagelharpa is built the same, it might happen that the one you are seeing that you like, that you want to get, doesn't have the micro tuning machine. Maybe the knobs are built in a different way. Maybe the knobs at the top aren't there at all. It only has the machine at the bottom with the little pegs. It really depends. So just look at the instrument very carefully when you are looking and searching for the Tagelharpa that you want, because each instrument, even built by the same person, can have very dramatical differences between each other. This is the big disclaimer, the big thing you need to be aware of when it comes to tuning. It's not just an aesthetical difference, it's also important for the tuning. You will tune the instrument anyway, of course. I mean, it doesn't create an issue if the pegs at the top are built in a different way or whatever. It's just something that I want to tell you so that you know as many things as possible when you choose the instrument, and you can say, okay, I recognize that thing, and it doesn't look unfamiliar to you when you're browsing through designs. Now that we know how to tune the instrument, we have to find the notes for each string. Now, what most of us players usually do is to tune the two strings at the top and the bottom of the instrument on the same note, or either the same note but at the top one octave higher and at the bottom an octave lower, and then the third string in the middle is on a different note. These two notes have to be in harmony with themselves and with the song that you're doing. This can be either because it's the standard tuning for your instrument that has been decided by the builder of the instrument, and you know it because they told you, okay, you're buying my Tagelharpa, this Tagelharpa is tuned for, I don't know, E, A, E. If you're experimenting with your Tagelharpa, or for example, I know I have some wiggle room with my own instrument, I can go maybe a bit lower with the tuning sometimes. I just play a lot with it. In that case, I just go by ear with the song. You can go the music theory way with the song as you would with, I don't know, other instruments, or if you were building chords, basically. What you're doing here is building a chord on the Tagelharpa without the third note of the chord. So just find a chord that fits well for the moment of your song that you're playing the Tagelharpa on, and then pick the best notes of that chord that go well together, also in harmony with each other for the Tagelharpa. This is the most simple way that I can explain it without going into music theory words for people that do not want to go the music theory way. I often go by ear, as I do with this instrument. I love going by ear, but it's my own thing. It sounds more complicated in words than it does when you're actually doing it. When you're listening between things, you will gain musicality as you go, and it's really beautiful to actually listen to all things clicking into harmony with each other as you create the tuning between the instrument, the strings with each other, and then the instrument and the song you're doing. Just play with the instrument. It also helps you gain experience with the tension of the strings. I do actually recommend, if you also have a standard tuning, to maybe, look into doing some notes around it, maybe on the lower side rather than the higher side, so you can actually see what happens if you go a little lower, how the tension of the strings reacts, how the instrument sounds like when it's not in its own designed tuning and stuff like that. It's just for your own way to explore the Tagelharpa. Okay, so right now I'm doing a project. I will tune this instrument for the project in B flat, and E flat. Before tuning it, I will apply a bit of rosin on the strings themselves, because I want to touch them as little as possible after they are on the right notes. Just a little bit, they already have rosin. I have my tuning app ready. Let's check where we are at with the string right now. Which should be somewhere close to A. You can see how I'm turning it from here. I'm already, let's see. Sometimes it doesn't pick sound very well, so you need to be a bit careful. But I think we are even a bit too much. You need to be careful when you let it down, because it might be. Okay. I think we're almost there. What I want to do right now is use my piano here to double check. Okay, we should be here. It picks it up correctly on the up. And actually we're almost there, maybe a little bit more. Let's say we're almost there. It doesn't need to be perfect. Nowhere near at all. Now that we have the first string, we know that the last string needs to be the same note, so we use it for comparison, because they need to be perfectly in tune with each other. Even if they're not in tune with something else, that's not necessarily a problem, but they need to be in tune with each other, otherwise that will not sound good. So this one also needs to go up. Let's see if we can loosen it up a bit. Okay. I think this is too high. No, this is too little. Let's try the microtuning machine. This is, you might be able to hear this. This is very low, too low that it should be. And it's also a little bit lower in tuning than the top string. If maybe the lower note is not going good enough, we can also compensate by retuning the top, the lower string. We can also compensate by going back to the top string. It doesn't have to be necessarily that we finished tuning the top string and we don't touch it anymore. I think they're almost there. We'll have to see when all of them are. And this one was already at B flat, E flat, sorry. I'm going back because now these two are too low compared to the middle string. This is where the micro tuning machine is really useful, to really go back and set all of the strings up with each other. You can see now that they harmonize, right? What these two want. Okay, I think we're more or less there. I've done some micro tuning by turning these ones. I feel a bit ashamed that I couldn't show you very well the micro tuning, but it's just turning these things very softly. A bit of rosin on the bow as well. I'm moving the bow, not the rosin, and trying to get all of the surface of the rosin so that it stays even. I've already done a video on how to choose, apply rosin. Now we do the big check. Does it sound good when we play the entire instrument? Right? We play it in the right spot and do the check with the bow. This is how I tune my own instrument. Once you start getting the hang of it, it becomes easier, but it does always take some time depending on the tuning you're doing. This took me some time also because I was trying to show everything to you, and I'm working with one new string and two slightly older strings that are now working with the new climate, because this is probably the first time that I'm playing them after the weather changed from the summer. So they are also very reactive to these kind of changes, so be aware of those kind of things. I hope this was helpful in kind of showing you how all of this works. As usual, do send me your questions or other topics you would like me to cover in other videos of this series. See you in the next episode. Bye bye bye.